right, good morning, everybody. Welcome into Baseball and Coffee. It is 10 a.m. on Friday, December 5th. Bader should be joining me pretty quickly, I think, right off the rip today. So I'm just going to kind of wait for him to get in the chat, and then we'll bring him on in, and we'll chat with Harrison for a little bit right off the top of the show today. And then we'll get into our next batch of prospects. And we'll talk a little bit about the trade that happened yesterday, Oviedo for the password. Good luck saying that guy's name. From the Red Sox, went back to the Pirates. Pirates need a little offense. Looks like Bader might be here, so let me go ahead and bring him in, and then we'll get that conversation going, and we'll move on. So bear with me, folks. I'll be right back.
Hi. Hello. Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me, Otto. I am 31 years old. From Berkeley, Carroll, yeah.
Myself. There we go. Okay, we're back. Anyway, I knew you played for the same coach as me, Jose Franco. I remember when you got called up. I remember facing you in 2017, seeing you with the blazing speed, and the defense and the hair. I see you're bringing back the flow again.
Yeah, I'm pushing it out as hard as I can every day.
I mean, you to be honest, you look good with the short hair too. But
No, he
there's
looks
something
good.
about
Thank
the
you.
long hair that's got real flow. My wife definitely approves, right,
He
Brett?
looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of different hairstyles over the years for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. But I don't know. I really had a blast being your teammate. It was cool to get to know you a little bit. And been interesting to watch your journey, especially the last few years as you've bounced around for about 4 or 5 different teams. You've had multiple trade deadlines. What are you looking for right now? Are you looking for a home, or are you feeling like this could be the reality going forward, and you just have to embrace that?
Yeah, I mean, I want to win a World Series more than anything. Listen, I want to, in my head, I can play baseball for my entire life, but I think we all have to come to terms with at some point it's going to end. And, it's my ninth season this year. So, listen, I obviously feel great, but I want to be I want to be on a team that's as close to winning a World Series as possible. So, I think when you come to the yard every single day on a winning team with a winning clubhouse, it fuels your energy so much more differently. And I think that hopefully I get an opportunity to be, close to winning World Series because you just never know what happens in this game. So, training aside, city aside, whatever aside, I want to win a World Series. So hopefully, we can do that and achieve that in free agency going somewhere.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. I think there's a couple phases in your career, right? There's like get your foot in the door, become a guy that's trusted. Then you worry about getting paid. Obviously, that's all part of it. And then eventually it comes down to the winning factor. And once you've been a part of a winning team and a playoff run, you've been in some big playoff runs now. It's unthinkable to go back the other direction. How was the experience this year in Philly when you went over there?
Yeah, I mean, Philly was absolutely incredible. Yeah, it brings a smile to my face. I know my family just loved it so much. They were so close to the city. Obviously, playing with the Yankees and the Mets, they were obviously in our backyard. But Philly was truly it's an hour train ride. It was right there. They came to pretty much every single game. My mother loved it. Yeah, I mean, the only way I could put it is just like the energy in that stadium every single day, the energy in that clubhouse every day, the expectations, the feelings of not closing a game out or winning and carrying it into the next day, using that as motivation. I mean, it's all just really connected in Philly. It's just very intense, and that's honestly what I love. That's what I signed up for when I played this game. Like you mentioned, being from New York, going down to University of Florida is certainly intense, the SEC and this and that, and whatever. But at the end of the day, everything in between those white lines, how you work, how you prepare, how you go out and in the present moment and play. I think that's really all that matters. So I've been signing up for the intense since day one. So it felt like a home, even though it was only for 2.5 months, just because the fans welcomed me. And I think they just welcomed me just because I just played hard. I don't know. I just I don't really I don't know. I didn't think about it. I just put my head down and played hard. Obviously, there's a lot of noise and the volume's turned up there, but just focusing on the task at hand and trying to help that team win that day. I think the fan base and my style of play, I think it resonated really well. So
Yeah.
listen, that was a fantastic few months. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah, I think your brand of baseball really endears you to the fans. Like you are a hustle guy. The way you play fundamentally in the outfield. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that like baseball purists, they watch your game and they immediately gravitate towards it. 100%, no doubt about it. I was curious in Philly how you connected with K Long at all. I was looking at your numbers. You had good year all year last year. You pretty much raked the whole year, but you went even to another level with Philly, 824 OPS. Was there any? Did you gain any not extra knowledge and any extra connection dealing with K Long at all?
Oh yeah, he's the man. He's awesome. K Long just he let me do my thing. He trusted me with what I said I was gonna do. He kept me loose. He kept me light. Obviously, listen, you have ups and downs from day to day. Even within a day, you have at bat to at bat, and I just would always go over to him. He stood in the same spot every single game, just watching like a hawk, taking notes, just being there. And for me, he was just a guy I need to bounce some emotion off of at times, sometimes more than not, more some days, less than others, but he just kept me loose, kept me confident, and he just kept it simple. When I said I was going to do something or try to do something, he, just tell me like, all right, do it, do it. And don't second guess yourself. If you have a plan and you're wrong, it's okay, but to have 100% confidence in a plan and be wrong is it's way better than being 50-50 on two separate plans, I guess. So
Yeah, you're
K-Long
talking
was just
about Yeah, you're talking about conviction there. There's a guy who's been
yeah.
around with all the big teams, big players. Obviously, a lot of guys with the success with the Phillies, Harp, Schwarber, Trey, Real Muto. It goes on and on and on. But you're totally right. Like in this sport, you got to be convicted to something at the highest level. If you're in between, it's almost impossible to compete with the stuff you're facing these days.
Oh yeah, no, it's impossible. And I just think too, like the conversation, in the dugout is extremely important, but also after the game in learning, especially if it's like the first game of a series or something, learning your opponent. He has a different set of eyes. He has a tremendously experienced set of eyes, and I think I was always just asking questions and asking what he saw in me, what he saw in the opposition, and I think just his seasoned experience, and he's had a career before me. I just think that his input I really valued, and I really took it to heart, and I applied it in my game moving forward. And I just think having that resource was huge for me. Whether you're a first year player or it's your last year in the big leagues, if you get an experience, a chance to work alongside that dude, that's a gift. So that was a lot of fun.
He's probably the only hitting coach I ever saw Max Scherzer give any credit to. So, so that goes a
Yeah,
long way in my
there you
mind
go.
for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, that says a lot right there.
So I have a question from my chat that came through yesterday in preparation from your coming for you coming on, and the question is: last year when you hit the home run, when the Marlins fans screamed at the father and took the ball from them, and then you met the fans after and gave them the signed bat, what was the play-by-play of that? How did you find out what happened here?
um,
Like, how did they
let's just let's
communicate
just
this
let's
to
just
you?
enjoy this swing real quick.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
man,
just a
I
little
miss that so much.
little cement
I
mixer
miss
down the
it.
middle. See you later.
Miss that so much. Get me back on the field. Yeah, no, but basically just after the game, our PR department came up to us and just kind of they actually showed me the video, and I was kind of I had him play it back because I love the swing so much. But then afterwards, I saw what happened in the stands, and basically, yeah, it just like some high energy transpired, and I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I think like maybe that woman was having a bad day or something bad at work, and she just took it out, I guess, in the wrong way, unfortunately. And I think that the game just allowed us to, right or wrong, if you will, and make a young fan's day, and we got an opportunity to give him more than just a home run ball, and I think the Phillies just had made a young fan smile, and I think that's just awesome how we had the opportunity to kind of capitalize on that, and make a kid smile, a young fan smile. So yeah, I was happy that, well, obviously you hate when things like that happen, I guess, but to be able to meet the kid and meet his entire family, and again make him smile, that's just a great opportunity for all of us to kind of bond over the game that we love.
I think you're totally right. You actually turned a negative into like probably more of a positive, and then even if he just got the
Yeah, for
ball,
sure.
you know,
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah, he got
important to
a
remember that stuff. So important.
yeah, he got a bat, we got a bunch of photos, we talked for a while. I mean, it was great, again, and it's listen, things happen all the time in life, but if you have the opportunity to somehow like make them up on the back end, and like you said, turn them into a positive, I think it's a great moment. So that's what I remember from that night more than anything else.
That's good. Well, big credit to you, man. That's awesome. There's been some guys that I've played with over the years that really get this, and you're one of the ones for sure. It's
Oh
great.
yeah,
It's
for
great to
sure.
see guys
Yeah,
doing
no
doing
doubt.
this stuff the right way and interacting with the fans. So earlier you mentioned going down to Florida, playing in the SEC, coming from where we come from in the Northeast. I know that you were somewhat of a preferred walk-on at the moment when you initially went down there. That takes a lot of conviction in a different kind of way, a lot of self belief, a lot of inner belief. And I'll be honest with you, even though I was drafted in high school, I did not have that belief at the moment. I used to dream these dreams of the kids in Texas, the kids in Florida, the kids in California. And I thought, geez, there's no way they're not better than what I'm doing. So I had a little bit of doubt in my system. And I'm wondering what it was within you and your support system around you that allowed you to take that leap of faith and take that chance. That obviously worked out, but in that moment.
Yeah, for sure. I think, my parents, they really instilled a level of confidence within me that was probably, looking back, a little more inflated than it should have been. But listen, my dad, I always knew my dad was a huge baseball fan. He always watched baseball nonstop. He had a good eye for it, and he gave me every ounce of confidence. I could just see it in his eyes when he would tell me that, Harrison, you can play. Just go out there and play your game. We'll be here, call us whenever, but just go out there, keep your head down, and just work and just play. And I think when I knew his baseball knowledge, and I knew when he said that, it made me believe in myself more. But yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I didn't have a choice. What's the choice? Yeah, I think every athlete is under this assumption that there's a choice. You can wake up and choose to work out, you can choose to go out and perform, and in reality, I think once an athlete realizes that there really is no choice, there's only one decision, that's to go out there and do it. I think you're better off, and I think I just got that at a very young age because there was no turning back at that point. So um I think that playing from New York, and you can speak to this as well, the weather, all these different factors, they limit our ability to succeed. There's no fields, it's cold, they're unkept. For me, the reason why I'm an outfielder is because New York City infields were so bad. I was literally scared of ground balls. I'd get hit in the face, I get hit in the teeth, and I'm like, I'm done with this. I moved to the outfield, and that happened to me when I was 12 years old, 13 years old. So that's the reason. And that's like the reality of it. But in many ways, again, going back to this theme of turning something maybe potentially negative into a positive, is that, that actually was our chip on our shoulder. Because when I got down to Florida, or when my, team, the New York Rays with Jose Franco, when we got down to Georgia, Florida, wherever, we were just playing in a gym for hours doing drills nonstop. And now we get this beautiful field in the grass, and it's like it felt like a major league field to us, and we were like caged animals ready to just go out there and play our game. And I think realizing that was our superpower at a young age. That was my superpower when I went to UF. I think if you're from New York City in general, you have a superpower anyway. Just growing up in that kind of pressure cooker, if you will, of just energy and people and personalities and all these different things. And So yeah, I think my parents and my support system, Jose Franco, David Owens, both my parents tremendously. They just were my support system to kind of turn that pressure cooker into just pure adrenaline and confidence and just yeah, and just passion. And I think if you kind of wake up and go to sleep and you do the same thing every day, eventually it becomes second nature. And before you know it, you kind of fast forward and here we are.
I think you tapped into it right there. There's something about the chip on your shoulder, the New York attitude, that little bit of FU that we all have in us. I remember going to
No doubt.
Boston and just being like, I'm going to be the guy here when I went to college, like whatever it takes, you know what I mean? And once you
100%.
get confronted with that fight or flight, it's kind of built in. We've been taught to fight our whole lives, right? And then
Oh,
also,
no doubt. No doubt.
culturally, baseball in New York, you grow up with a lot of Latino culture, you got
Oh,
Dominicans, you
yeah.
got a lot of different flavor all around. And to me, that stuff prepares you even more for pro ball than some other guys. Would you speak on that at all?
Oh yeah, 100%. You absolutely could not be more correct. I mean, all the baseball in New York, like you mentioned, is all Spanish. It's all, basically Dominican and Puerto Rican, and there's a certain style of play which, when I was playing at a young age, at 14 years old, I didn't know anything different. But now that it kind of makes full circle and we're in the big leagues playing with all these guys, I mean, it's the same exact style of play. It's the same exact energy. It's the same exact passion. It's the same exact love for the game. I was surrounded by Puerto Ricans and Dominicans when I was growing up playing baseball. There was one other pitcher. His name is Blaze Skirbo. He's a right-handed pitcher for us. We were the only white dudes on the team, but we did everything just like they did because they were cooler and flashier and they had way more swag and they flowed better on the field and the way they laughed, and it was just a culture that I just loved so much, and they welcomed us so easily and with so much love and with so much open arms. And I mean, they are the reason why, like, at any point, if there's good Spanish food on the counter, I'm choosing that over anything else. There's no doubt. I mean, I'm talking like a steak from Wolfgang's, the nicest whatever. If there is some sweet, like, mushy plantains with some hot sauce, good white rice, and pollo guisado on the table, I'm eating that 100% of the time. So I think that the Spanish culture is just one that welcomed me through through common ground in the game, and I just have so many amazing moments of just sharing, that the game that I love so much with another culture, and that's why baseball is so beautiful to me. So yeah, I mean, you nailed it. The Spanish culture prepared us for it, no doubt about it.
I can relate to that feeling with the food in the clubhouse. Like that was kind of my
Oh man,
way in the low minors to endear myself to those guys. Like the food would be on the
yeah,
table, I would creep on over and be like, "Oh, you have some mangú over there?"
yeah,
You got.
yeah. No, exactly, exactly. And then I think they take really well to that too, because those young clubhouses too. A lot of those guys are very young. They don't speak a lot of English, but I think if you find common ground with people, regardless of backgrounds or culture, through food, through music, through sport, I think that like you said, that's a way to kind of get connected to other people.
Yeah, no doubt. It's it's just so funny in the minor leagues because I do think the cultural stuff slaps a lot of people in the face when they first show up. Like guys that are from the Midwest or guys that are maybe straight from Dominican, they're integrating into a US culture and vice versa. And it's at the beginning, it's a little bit like, how do I move in this space? I always felt really blessed to kind of be out ahead of that by, growing up in a situation with other Latino players in dimly lit gyms and being a part of the culture. So I think we were really
Oh,
lucky
for
in that
sure.
regard, and maybe we didn't know it at the time, but it's really helped out long term for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't be scared. You know what I mean? You can't be scared of it.
No, you cannot be scared of it. No, you
You
just got
can't
to
be you can't
embrace
you
it
can't be
all.
scared of it. You have to embrace it all. Exactly. I mean, you have teammates. You have teammates at every level. You just embrace it all and you go with the flow, and yeah.
All right, totally. I want to talk to you about your defense a little bit now. You're probably one of the better center fielders I've ever watched. But one of the main things that always sticks out to me is your fundamentals. I love the way that you put your head down, run to the spot, how you get behind the ball. The fundamentals of your game, obviously, you have speed, you have electric tools, but I feel like the fundamentals are what kind of take you to another level. What were some of the early influences in you and your outfield play in your life?
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you saying that. Means a lot. Like I said, I couldn't feel the ground ball to save my life. Pretty much, my dad basically pulled me aside and was like, "I'm tired of watching this. I love you, Harrison, but we're gonna figure this out together." And put me in the outfield at a very young age. And I think if you learn something at a young age, you're more of a sponge. You kind of you go back to you just understand it better. But oh, this was a good one. It's my dog Joe. Hell yeah. Um,
That was nice.
yeah, no, I think my dad when I was young, he taught me how to play the outfield. I was 12, 13 years old. When everybody wanted to be Derek Jeter, my dreams of Derek Jeter becoming Derek Jeter kind of flew out the window. So he just told me to always keep the my belt buckle, like the front facing of your belt buckle, always just keep it facing whatever base I'm going to throw to. And I think initially, that can kind of be confusing because like you're catching the ball in stride, then you're turning and you're like, wait, like, but my belt buckle. And I think the point is what he's trying to get at was to do all of the work before the ball kind of gets to you. So, do all of the work very early. So sprint to the spot, get behind it quickly if you can, and then catching it, coming through and throwing it, all these things make it a lot easier to kind of come through the ball and then obviously make a play or a catch or a throw, whatever. So my big thing is just get behind it as soon as possible. Again, do as much work as possible before it gets to its highest point. And then from there, everything in terms of catching it, throwing through it, all these things are so much easier. So my dad just taught me that at a very young age, and it just always stuck with me.
What do you prefer more, robbing a guy in the gap or robbing a home run or throwing somebody out that's trying to take an extra base? What's more satisfying?
Yeah, I mean, like throwing like an assist is definitely gonna feel good, like gunning someone down, but like diving catches and robbing a home run, I mean, there's absolutely nothing better.
I found this play yesterday. This is your hardest throw ever from the outfield. 99-4. I
Bang!
don't know if they reviewed this and you got Zim here or not. It looks like it's pretty dang close. But it looked like right before the play you were mad about something. And this might have had a little bit of an anger throw to it, but this was a hell of a toss, bro.
This was a good one.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. I have this research tool that MLB gave me where I can look at like guys like, the longest distance they covered or the
Oh,
hardest
was that all
throw.
the way in the air?
That was all the way in the air, kid.
Bang! Wow, look at that. That was
Oh,
so.
look at Pop Warner on the phone
Look
trying to
at
figure it
yeah,
out.
yeah. Oh man, that was high pants. Look at that. I still move like that.
Man, you got
Maybe,
behind the
maybe,
ball nice right there.
maybe a quarter of a step different. Still move like that.
That was sick. Let me see this one because I'm curious. This is a 98.3 mile an hour throw. Let me see. Oh, this is with the Metros.
Yeah, see, we still got it.
Hell yeah, we still got it, kid. I see you working on your throws every day. Oh, baby. He didn't want to
Oof,
test you. Lane Thomas, that's your boy too, huh?
that's my dog. Yeah, he was like, we'll take the single. Okay, like Harry, you got it. Relax, bro.
I love that.
I miss him. He's great. Lane's awesome. He's a good dude.
All right, so we only faced each other 3 times in our career, and you're 2 for 3 with 2 doubles.
Damn.
Here's the first one, 2017.
This was
Hold on,
2017.
a little check swing, double piece.
Bro, they all count, brother. They all count.
Dude, I was
I'm pretty
going
sure
through
someone
it.
said, "Hey, I know you just got up here, but this guy throws a lot of sliders, and it's got to start behind you, so you got to stay on that." And I think I was probably looking slider.
I'll tell you what, bro.
Thanks for the scouting report.
I was going through it bad in 2017, and I needed this out. And then check swing double. That was not in the cards for me.
Oh man, that ball was laced, Otto.
Man, this ball was laced right here. This is the next year, 2018. I remember I got ahead in the count. I tried to go fastball, and you were ready for it. You were not fooled.
Oh, nice. We need to bring that swing back right there.
Man, little low line drive to the oppo gap.
Yeah, we need that.
Gosh, and
No
you're
way I went
fast on
3.
base. I'm
Look at
screwed.
DJ. Look at DJ LeMahieu.
Yup, Deej, Story. All my guys in this video. Cargo and Chuck getting this ball dug out.
Hey, if you look on second though, if you look at that last before it clips out, I put this face on like I have no idea how I just did that. This guy's nasty.
I
Wait for it
appreciate
right
that.
there. Wait for it right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I did get you one time.
Show me a punch. Show me a punch.
It's just
Come on.
this is a brutal high sweeper that this is a stupid pitch. Here it comes.
Oh, That's a very disconnected swing there.
I mean, it was a 3-2 count, winning run on second.
Let me tell the people that I have since learned how to handle this pitch right here. So we're in a better spot. Oh, good action though. That
Yeah,
dude, that's that's a big one. If you pause that right before it starts to break, I mean that ball is truly like look at that.
yeah,
People don't understand how far that it might look like this, whatever on filmer from this way. That is so far behind us as hitters.
yeah. That's tough. That was my whole trick. Just make you as uncomfortable as possible, really. So, but
Well, it worked for a very, very long period of time.
yeah, you got my ass though, twice, 2 dubs. I love it though. It's all good. Anyway, that's really all I got for you. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out, chatting a little bit. Thanks for giving me your insight on everything, and I hope you have the best off season, and I hope that you get everything you want this year. And I hope to see you in person next year, watching you patrol center and absolutely raking. So
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. It really was a pleasure, and I've always just been such a fan of you, and I've just had so much respect for you as well for so long, and to be able to be a teammate with you also is it does mean a lot to me. So I'm thankful to be here, and I really appreciate everything, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it all takes us. So I'll see
yeah,
you soon, my friend.
I appreciate that. I remember at the end of 24 when we talked a little bit about being teammates and stuff, and it meant a lot to me. I always
No
wanted the
doubt.
guys from the area to connect with me a little bit. I'm not the most social guy always, but I felt like when you gave me the stamp of approval, that meant a lot to me. So I appreciate that.
Oh, no doubt. Hey, you my dog, Otto. You know that. And New York. And if there's anybody people in this chat that watch Otto and you happen to be from New York, please, we are we are just normal people that just had an ability to just kind of go out there and just play the game we love, and that's all it is. We there's nothing special here. There's just showing up every single day and using New York City as a chip because it really is a power, and you have to believe that. So yeah. But you're my dog, and I appreciate it. So I'm looking forward to when I get to see you next.
All right. Yes, sir, man. Have a great day, and we'll catch up
You
with
too,
you later,
Papa.
brother. All right. Later,
All right,
John.
peace.
All right. See ya. All right. That was Mr. Bader. He came in right off the rip. Sorry about the mute on my volume there at the beginning. Sometimes I mute myself from the stream, and then I forget to unmute myself when he actually comes on the stream. So that's my bad off the rip, but he was good. I mean, he's got the best energy. Really looking forward to watching him play. I felt like his offense took a big step forward last year. He's got a good plan. He's executing it. And I think he fits with a ton of teams. Elite defender. He can lay in the weeds, bottom of the order, do some damage. Great teammate, great clubhouse guy. So I'm glad you guys. Looks like people in the chat really enjoyed that. And so we're gonna keep it moving here in a minute with some more top prospect talk. But that was really fun. That was really fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with that. And we'll definitely get Bades back on here, in the future, at some point in the future. Big WOBA spike in 2025. The man is getting paid. Yeah, if you go look at his details here, hold on one second. From this last season, there was functionally some differences in his game this year. 796 OPS coming off of back-to-back 600 OPSs, and we already mentioned the defense and everything like that. Great speed, all the other intangibles. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with him this year. I'm excited for him. Hope he does great. Yeah, rooting for my guys always. All right, let's move it on. Let's keep it rolling. And I think first we should take a look at the trade that happened yesterday. It was Oviedo. Well, hold on. We got a little bit more information in here in a second. People are really feeling that. Yeah, genuine guy, one of the best. One of the best. The New York guys, we're good, trust me. And yes, the Hispanic culture, it's big for us in New York, and it really plays really well when you get into the clubhouses and you're playing with tons of guys from DR, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Mexico, you name it. Helps us assimilate better, helps us keep that clubhouse a little tighter. So, when you're looking for guys that are culturally, intelligent, emotionally intelligent, a lot of times New Yorkers, nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, and don't worry, we live in the burbs too, even though I grew up in the city. So it's all good. And we have some Gator fans in the chat. Obviously, the Gators, one of the big time baseball teams in the SEC, Florida Gators. Obviously, Pete Alonso, Harrison Bader. At one point, we had like 5 Gators on the Mets, Danny Young, and there were some others as well that I can't think about right now. But there was a whole bunch, a whole cast of characters. So um, anyway, we'll keep it moving here, and we will get into this trade. It was Oviedo. This was an interesting one. Johan Oviedo from the Pirates going to the Red Sox. Let me take Harrison's name off there. And going the other direction is the password. Now, I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's name, but he is in the MLB top 100 prospects. So we'll definitely see him in a second. And I'll make an attempt at the name here. Where are we? Here it is. Joss Nixon Garcia. Is that right? Okay, we have a pronunciation in here. Stinkson. Anyway, the password. So this is an interesting trade. Pirates, as we talked about on their preview when we're doing NL Central, we talked a little bit about how they have an offensive issue. So let's get up the roster resources for both of these teams and figure out exactly what this trade means. On the Pirates side, he's already penciled in. This is a guy who was probably not going to get any opportunity in Boston to play every day. Man, we have a whole bunch of more stuff in here. We have Joe's Tinson, and this one says Yo Stinkson. So I don't know. We're just going to call him the password for now. Definitely don't want to be disrespectful. Obviously, Garcia. We'll just call him Garcia. Yep, Victoria. She's right. So Garcia. He's Garcia. He's a right on right. He's a bat first prospect. And now this is the bet that the Pirates are making. They feel like they have a surplus of starting pitching prospects, so they're able to give up on Oviedo here. But the Red Sox are liking what they're getting back in terms of stuff. So let's go over to Oviedo and let's get a little look at him. He had the Tommy John. I believe it was in... So you can see he missed a lot of time here. 21 games in 22, 8 starts, and then he pitched a full season in 23, and then last year only 40 games. There's a Tommy John in here somewhere. But this is a big, strong dude, originally a Cardinals prospect. Has good stuff, just off the rip with velocity. Averaging 95.4 on his four-seam last year. That's above league average. Let me take this off. I don't need these headphones anymore. That's above league average. His extension, 98th percentile, so that fastball plays even faster. And it'll be interesting to see what Andrew Bailey and the Red Sox people do with him. It's already a pretty diverse mix. I wouldn't be surprised if they leaned in a little more to sinker type shapes and changeup type shapes. I bet you they'll give him a kick change pretty fast, get him below the 0 line. And then they'll try to work a little east-west game with a little sneaky four-seam, use the velocity to the advantage. But what they're thinking in this trade, because this seems crazy because you're not getting as much control for Oviedo and really hasn't popped yet as a stud yet, and you're giving up on a guy who's a top 100 prospect. But here's what they're thinking. They're thinking, number one, Garcia is blocked. Number two, if you are able to tweak Oviedo and get a mid-rotation starter out of him, it's on the extreme cheap, and there's almost nothing better than that right now, given the cost of these starting pitchers. And actually, even the relievers that we've seen. I mean, Emilio Pagan getting $10 million a year for 2 years surprised me a little bit. And I think that's ultimately the calculus for Breslow and the Red Sox guys. So you look at Oviedo. He needs help on his walk rate. That's the big thing. Get him in the zone. This is something the Red Sox have done a lot better job of over the last few years, figuring out targeting strategies, figuring out command training strategies, get guys in the strike zone. And I think that's the number one low-hanging fruit. I mean, look, 13.5% walk rate. Even if you go back to his other years, the walk percentage is never really that inspiring, nor the K percentage. It's a weak contact approach. But hold on. Oh, crap. Okay. Oakley's sick. So I got to be off at 11:30. All right. That's fine. K percentage is not great, so he's a contact-type pitcher, but I do think that they'll figure out how to make that even better. They'll get him in the strike zone more. And you can't be a contact pitcher with a bad walk rate, so something's going to have to fix. One of those is going to have to improve. The K rate or the walk rate's going to have to come down. I think other than that, there's some raw ability here to like. You got to get him in the strike zone. First pitch strikes a lot better. He's never been over 60%. But if you can clean up a lot of the basic fundamentals, the pitching fundamentals, There's some physical ability to be excited about here. Let's check the shapes, the current shapes on the pitches. So he's coming from, first of all, what's the arm slot? 26 degrees. That's right around where I was. So he's a little bit low slot. So you don't have to worry as much about the vert on the four seam, which is good because it's 15. But that's not bad for 26 degree arm angle. 15 is actually pretty decent. So I feel pretty good about that. Here's the sinker shape, which I would probably, I'm pretty damn sure they're going to tweak this grip and they're going to get more drop and more run out of it. Because right now it's about league average. Change up as well. They got to find more drop to that. And then, I think the slider and the curveball are both power pitches, which are okay. But, he's a project, but he's a project with big upside because he's got good stuff and a big body that should be durable once they teach him some tools to remain, out there on the mound. So that's him. And then we'll go look at Garcia on Prospect Savant real quick, just to get a feeling for this guy. Come on, internet. All right, how do you start spelling this name? It is, where is it? Jhos is how you start this name. Okay. There he is. All right. So here's the numbers on Prospect Savant from last year. I know he took a little bit of a step back last year. Surprisingly below average exit velocity. Does have his max EV over league average at 110, but too many strikeouts, not enough walks, too much swinging in general. He got a small taste of the big leagues. But this is a top 100 prospect who's been known for his bat as he's come up through the levels. And that's what the Pirates are banking on. They feel like they have a surplus of pitching, and they're going to go ahead and put him in here. And maybe they get a hit here, and they have a guy under 6 years of team control that can really swing it. So, I think also the Red Sox are looking at these metrics a little bit now, and they're saying, well, he's not as much of a slam dunk as maybe he felt like 12 months ago. You have Roman Anthony. He's not going anywhere. They still have Duran, they still have Rafaela, still have Abreu, still have Yoshida. I mean, who knows? They might make more moves in the outfield. So from a Red Sox perspective, they didn't really need him. Now, let me go look at the Red Sox roster resource real quick and see where Oviedo kind of fits in. Right now, they have him as a long man in the pen, but this is more starter depth, which I think is really important for the Red Sox. I know they're probably still shooting a little higher for somebody to pair with Crochet and now Sonny Gray towards the top. But they also need to protect the bottom. Cutter Crawford didn't pitch last year. Patrick Sandoval didn't pitch last year. They don't have as much starter depth as they probably like to. They just traded away Richard Fitz. I know they have Connolly early. I know they have Peyton Tolle, but you don't want to put too much pressure on those guys if you don't have to early. So I kind of like this move. It's a big upside move. And honestly, Garcia, I think they're probably worried about maybe his bat falling off a little bit more and him kind of being in no man's land this year and his trade value really tanking. So I don't mind this move. I think it's pretty good by Breslow and the Sox here. I actually really understand it, and I really get it. Let me just tell my wife I'll be off at 11:30. Because one of my daughters is sick, so my wife had to go pick her up from school, which means everything's a moving part right now. Okay, let's see what the chat's saying about this move. Brez isn't done for the offseason. No way they enter spring training with all this starting pitching. I mean, they're going to have depth. I think they learned that lesson 2 years ago. I've heard Alex talk about it a lot. I think you might be wrong here. I think if they make a trade, I think it'll be out of the position player group, Jarren Duran, somebody like that. I think ultimately this is a team that's going to go for it, and it would be a really big hindrance if they don't have their depth figured out. All right, what else we got here? Red Sox now have a lot of major league depth ready in the lineup rotation. They can swing for a big trade. I agree with this. I think if they want to take a big swing and it lines up, they definitely have the capability to do that. Crochet is coming off a massive number of innings. Do you think the Sox would be thinking of that as they put together the staff? I think they expect Crochet to keep rolling, to keep rocking and rolling. But you have to have protection always. You're always worrying about downside. So it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. that could happen. Hold on, should I call Brett? She's confusing me. Let me call Brett real quick. Let me put her on speaker.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated.
Well, maybe she'll try me again. So anyway, yeah, I get it for both teams. Both teams have different needs, and I think the Red Sox are gearing up to not be done. We all know that they're still pursuing Bregman and maybe Pete Alonso. Maybe there's some others that we don't know about, some other targets. I mean, maybe Imai. I mean, there's a lot of potential targets. And look, the Red Sox use 15 starting pitchers this year, according to Jane here. So I think you can definitely see it from both sides, but I kind of like it from the Red Sox perspective. I mean, you have a prospect who's blocked, and I've seen this in the past with a lot of teams I've been on. You have a prospect who has some sort of prospect value, but ultimately he's not really in your plan. He's kind of blocked. You try to ride the line of, we're not sure what we want to do with him. Do we believe in him? Do we not? He gets pinch hit at bats. He faces closers. He doesn't really get a lot of starts. He gets platoon starts. He goes back to the minors to get at bats, comes back up. He's all discombobulated at the end of the year. And it's like nobody wants him anymore. I think of Clint Frazier a little bit as one of these guys. He did a really great job with the Yankees in 2020, but like was never really given a full amount of run in like 18 or 19 or even after that. And he kind of like got caught in between and ends up going on the carousel to a million other teams. You know, and partially it's always, of course, on the player, but it's also always on the situation as well. So I think about that a little bit, maybe with how that pertains to Garcia and how the Red Sox are getting out in front of that scenario and getting something for him. So, I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on that. And Victoria's saying Imai and San Fran. I've heard some bad rumors, and we don't like to talk about rumors too much on this program, but I've heard some rumors that the Giants don't want to pay him. So we'll see. All right, real quick before I get into the prospects. Last night I was at the Italian American Baseball Foundation Gala. It was really fun. I got this cool hoodie. Got to see a lot of people from around the game. My quest to play in the WBC is getting a little closer. I think we got a shot. We got a pretty good shot. I talked with Francisco Cervelli, Ned Coletti, lots of people, and I'm feeling pretty good about my chances. So that'd be cool. We'll cover the WBC, and maybe I'll be playing in it. So that'll be awesome. But anyway, I just wanted to shout that out, and now we'll go ahead and we'll get into the rest of our top prospect talk here. All right. So where were we on the list when we left off? Let me get rid of Oviedo. We don't really need him. We were at number 22, Thomas White. Thomas White, big time. Hold on, let me get in the chat. Did I meet Spencer Jones? Yep, said hi to him for a second. Jack Caglione. Obviously, I know Roman. A couple other people were there, younger players. But Spencer Jones, tall guy. We did Carson Benj. I know they're talking about Carson Benj. We did Carson Benj actually after my Garrett Whitlock interview the other day. He looks great. So Carson Benj was a two-way player in college. Now he's focused on outfield. He's rising fast through the system. There's a lot of reasons to really like him. The swing is interesting. He's got a lot of moving parts in the swing, so I'm curious how that plays. But anyway, that's just a touch on Benj real quick. All right, here is Thomas White. Thomas White, I think he's the top left-handed prospect in the game. Starting pitcher with the Marlins. Marlins always seem to have a great starting pitcher coming at some point. He is 6'5", 240. That's basically my dimensions. So as a 21-year-old, he's already a full-grown beast. He's from Massachusetts, I believe, initially, which is interesting. And he was a Vanderbilt commit originally, ends up signing for $4.1 million. Here are the scouting grades. 60 fastball, 65 slider, which is an elite slider grade, 55 changeup, control 45, overall 55. So he's got to improve his command a little bit. Let's see what the stats look like from this past season. He did go from high A all the way to triple A with really good results. An aggregated 2.31 ERA in 21 starts, 89 and 2/3. So they definitely limited his innings, kind of escalated them slowly as they went. 89 and 2/3, only 55 hits, speaking to the level of this guy's stuff. Holy shit. 145 strikeouts in 89 innings. Did have the 51 walks, which is sketchy, so there's an effectively wild element to this. But this guy's got some stuff to him, huh? Let's see if we can get some video on Mr. Thomas White here, and we'll take a couple of looks at that. This is great. How am I going to name all the great Italian Yankees? Joe Pepitone, baby. All right, here we go. Thomas White. Let's get a look at how he's looking these days. He's another guy who has kind of like a very smooth arm stroke that almost feels late, where it kind of hides the ball pretty good. pretty good, and I actually think that helps his slider kind of look like his fastball a lot later. To have a 65 grade slider is pretty crazy. There it is. So it's probably got extra speed and extra break. Oof. I mean, that's a whippy arm. This is a huge body, so his prototype body size, I mean, he absolutely fits the prototype very cleanly. And then you got to love the breaking ball, but they got to figure out how to get him in the strike zone. Marlins are now run, Gabe Kapler runs a lot of their programming. I think he got elevated to a GM, but there's literally no effort in this delivery, which I love. That's what TN Overland is talking about here. And it's a good place to start. You throw easy gas, you generate it with no problem, you have a wide arsenal, and on top of that, your ball plays a little sneaky due to extension or spin or something like that. So there's a lot to like with guys like that. Let's see what it says about his pitches. White Stuff made a jump in 2024. So this is 2 years ago, and he's still maintaining this, that he's still on this list. And he was 92, 95, then he became 94, 97. So that easy fastball, I mean, that's crazy. 94, 97, just jumping out of the hand. You can see why he's liked, why he's well thought of also with his age. 21 in AAA is a great place to be. We'll probably see him. So he always exhibited good feel for spin, switched from a 78 to 82 mile an hour curveball to an 81 to 85 slider and had huge break on that. 81 to 85 with huge horizontals going to play, and then he's got a mid-80s fading changeup. So the biggest thing is just throwing strikes and getting those innings up. I mean, only being at 80 innings, you would think 89-ish innings last year. You would think he would get up over 100 this year pretty clean, and then they kind of build him up from there as he gets into the big leagues. But that's exciting for the Marlins, who they do seem to always have just a ridiculous amount of young pitchers coming at all times. All right, so that's Thomas White, number 22, and he's followed by another lefty, Kade Anderson, who we touched on. He was just drafted this year by the Mariners. He was the 3rd overall pick. His grades are 60 fastball, 55 curveball, 55 slider, 60 changeup, 55 control. Now, I think this guy's a tremendous pitchability guy. We actually watched some of his videos earlier in the year. He's an LSU guy. Had a hell of a season this past year, and they ended up signing him for $8.8 million in the draft. I mean, the number has gotten huge at the very top of this draft, and you don't draft a pitcher this high if you don't think he's going to come quickly. So add him into that mix with those other Mariners that they have. That's a pretty damn good place to go. Let's go watch some of Kade Anderson's draft video just to get a sense of what we're talking about here. It's a really good overhand curveball. He's really good at burying it. The fastball plays. It's a traditional lefty type of game, but with really good feel. And I think one advantage, and Bader talked about it a little bit, when you play in the big time, you play in the SEC, it does start to prepare you a little quicker than a lot of other guys. Maybe we can get a little video in here somewhere. Oh, that's just trash. All right, let's go to the YouTube, because I've watched plenty of videos on Kade Anderson, so we need to get some of those on here for the stream. Here we go. Here's some shorts where he punches 11. So or he just got fired up here. That's one video. Man, I'm really dropping the ball right now. Come on, Adam. All right, we'll just go here. We'll just watch this whole video. Why not? All right, here he is in the College World Series of all places. This was his start, 6'2", 186. You can see those numbers, 11-1 with the 3.44. 3.44, you might say, man, that doesn't feel like a 3rd overall pick. But in the SEC, a 3.44 is outstanding pitching on Friday nights, and you can see the record. He was crushing everybody. There's the changeup. He also showed great poise in big games all season long. There's 93 up top. He definitely gets a little squatty on the back leg, making that ball play. And this is an important point here by TN Overland as well. College pitching development has gotten so great. You can literally develop just as well down there as you can in some minor league program, and oftentimes better. You have more time to practice. You have access to tons of technology, as these athletic departments have a lot of money, and they have a lot of fun toys that they buy. So, and also, honestly, a lot of the better coaches end up in the college game. They get paid better. They get compensated better in different ways. It's a better lifestyle in some ways. So they end up at these programs making a huge difference for these kids. And man, Tigers, LSU Tigers, what a great place to be. I would have loved to have experienced that. You know, I always hear the stories from like LeMahieu and guys like that. So SEC baseball, pretty freaking cool. Looks like this is going to be another fastball. Boom, Bayou. Really good command. So all this stuff speaks to me. He's got a lot of polish. He'll probably open the year in AAA. And then, you know, honestly, I think he'll have a chance to crack the rotation this year. And he fills a need for them. They don't have a lefty starter over there with the Mariners. They're all righties, and they are all a little redundant, as nasty as they are. So it's good to inject a little lefty blood into that rotation. And I'm excited to watch this guy pitch some AL West baseball. So that's Kade Anderson. Got to get a decent little look at him there. I thought he looked pretty good right there. All right, we got something in the chat here. What's the logic, strategy behind getting low at that back leg, better perceived ride? It's not like a strategy. It's just like some guys are comfortable being a little more drop and drive versus, you know, they get comfortable with a little more drop and drive than a little more tall and fall approach. And when you're tall and fall, your approach, your ball has more of this angle. When you're a little more drop and drive, your ball's got a little more of a flat angle. And at a flat angle at the top of the zone, that usually plays really well. So it's just one of those things where when you're lower, you got to know that that upshoot is part of your game. And that's something that clearly Kade Anderson is using to his benefit a little bit. So anyway, just kind of pointing that out because every pitcher kind of does it a little differently based on how they kind of unwind. All right, number 24, Red Sox shortstop, Franklin Arias, 20 years old. All right, this is another classic guy on the top 100 list. Shortstop. They all are freaking shortstops. They're great athletes. They're all-around players. This guy's no different. Franklin Arias. Here are the grades. 60 hit grade, 45 power, 45 run, 55 arms, 60 field, 55 overall. So that tells me right now he's a guy who's probably not going to have crazy range, but if he touches it, you're out. Great hands, I'm guessing, and really good bat-to-ball skills. So that's what we're probably looking at here based off those grades. Let's see what it says in his bio. He was one of the better defensive shortstops in the international class, but he didn't stand out at the plate. Ends up getting $500,000 out of Venezuela, and then that perception changed when he raked in the rookie-level Dominican Summer League. He hit .350, and he's been raking kind of ever since. He makes great swing decisions for a teenager, has a great contact, simple right-handed stroke, and as they have with several of their prospects, the Red Sox have helped him add strength and bat speed. This is something that's come with the Red Sox organization. They've gone heavy on a lot of driveline principles. They're trying to, you know, literally level up the physical tools of their players, which is a very interesting strategy, and actually really like it, especially with these guys at the younger levels. Here were the grades this year. He ends up going from low A all the way to double A, where he only got 10 games in double A, but here was the overall stats from last year. 278, 335, 388 in 116 games. Only the 8 home runs, but you know, he makes up for it with a really good strikeout to walk ratio. Not enough walks, but not a lot of strikeouts either. 38 walks, 53 strikeouts, only 12 steals. So he's an interesting prospect. Doesn't rank this high as these other guys, probably mostly because he doesn't have any speed tools. So there's a little bit of an electricity that he's lacking. But at the same time, hold on. But at the same time, he's steady. So he's like a guy who's got a high floor. Like he's probably going to be a big leaguer either way. But that doesn't mean that he's necessarily going to be like an electric, insanely, you know, dominating big leaguer either. So, you know, it'll be interesting to watch how this goes. Now, what is happening here? He's not a pitcher. He's a batter. Let's see if we can get any Franklin Arias video here. No video because he was at too much of the lower levels. So we're just going to take it with a grain of salt and assume he's a pretty good contact hitter, and we're just going to have to wait and see as he gets to the higher levels what this profile really looks like. But he is number 24, Franklin Arias. You know, he's in a great spot. When you get to double A at age of 20, you got a good shot of making your debut 21 or 22, which is really where you want to be. So Interesting that he ranks ahead of our next player, who I do think has a lot of hype right now, had an electric season last year, and probably has more physical tools. So it's interesting. Tells you a lot about Arias that he's rated ahead of this guy, number 25 of your New York Yankees, George Lombard Jr., the son of George Lombard, who's been a longtime Major League coach. Him and his brother, the other Lombard, are incredible high school talents. I mentioned how I watched a day in the life youth prospects video on Connor Griffin. I watched one on the Lombards as well, and I couldn't help but think, like, these kids have such an advantage. They're already so dialed in on their nutrition. They're already so dialed in on their training. They're already so dialed in on what it means to be a pro. It's just a huge leg up on everybody else when the mentality is already shaped at a young age, and then you throw together the hard work and the tools that come out of that, and you're in a really great spot. So here's George Lombard Jr. Here are the stats. He tore the cover off the ball to open the season up in high A, which got him a promotion to double A, where the numbers did fall off a little bit, but there's a lot of really good scouting on this guy coming out of this year. Here were the aggregated numbers between the two levels: 235, about a 367 on base, 381 slug, so a 748 OPS overall as one of the youngest players in Double A. Obviously, that's including his really good numbers in high A. He only hit 695 in Double A for OPS. 111 hits on the season, 9 home runs, 87 walks, which is good, so strike zone judgment's fine, and 146 Ks with 35 steals. Here are the grades: 55 hit, 50 power, 55 run, 55 arm, 60 field. See, I would have had him, based off these grades and upside, probably above Franklin Arias, but that's without having watched them play a lot. So that's just me, off a very small sample, making some stupid opinions. Signed for over slot, 26th overall pick. And here's what it says. Not only does Lombard feature the potential for solid or better tools across the board, he has the high baseball IQ to make the most of them. This is what I was talking about. When you grow up so close to the big league level, that definitely makes a huge difference for you. No doubt about it. He possesses a sound right-handed stroke, recognizes pitches well, uses the entire field, so he's equipped to hit for average. He did have surprising issues making contact against fastballs at times, but he's always tightening up his weaknesses. All right, let's see if we can find him at all. See if we can get any video on his swing. Man, these people are brutal. All right, now we got to go back then to, well, first of all, let's go to his prospect spot. We'll get a better idea here. Wow, that looks great. Red across the board. Even his whiff rate, 42nd percentile, it's not that bad. Pull in the air, that's actually not it's interesting because it's not as low as I would have expected, considering he has so few home runs. But yeah, it's a little bit of swing and miss in his game, but look at everything else. The speed's good. The exit velocity is outstanding, especially considering his size, and the numbers look good all around. So pretty excited to watch this guy come up. I mean, these guys just don't miss. Who knows if he'll be a star, but this guy will be a big leaguer, 100%. He already kind of plays like one. And he's a younger guy, so interesting. Let's go see if there is any video really quick that we can pull. I'm sure there is. All right, let's watch this home run, and then we'll watch him on defense for a second, on another video, on a second video, and then we'll move on to the next prospect. I only have about 20 more minutes, so we're going to do as well as we can today. But, parenthood calls, and we got to hustle out. This weekend, there will be a video. I already recorded it on Tarek Skubal facing his top 10 batters of the year. It's a second follow-up from the one I did on Skeens. It's pretty interesting. He wasn't as dominant, still didn't really give up anything, but it's fun to watch. All right, here's Lombard hitting a home run. All right, let's watch the setup here. So he's pretty tall in the setup. There's a little bit of a J.D. Martinez feel to this load and release here. Good place to be. And it's interesting, a couple people in here hope the Yankees trade this guy. He's a really great player. He's got a nice max EV. There's a lot of talk about this guy. Obviously, there's also a lot of talk about the Yankees' current shortstops, Volpe and Caballero. This is like one of those questions. You got prospect value, but then the question becomes, okay, so you have prospect value. Do we hang on to it and think you're the actual guy, or do we cash it in early? I was just talking about it with the password, Garcia. He's not quite in that same spot, but every time you get close to AAA, the big leagues, you got to start making these decisions. So I'll be curious how this all plays out with their current cast of guys. All right, let's watch this defensive stuff. Deep in the hole. Ooh, tremendous throwing arm. He made that look easy. Most guys would have had to bounce that ball. That was really nice in stride. Another one in the hole. This time he jump throws it. Still reaches it there on a fly. So very impressive right there on those two plays. Are we going to get a third play? No. All right, let's watch those again. This first one especially, this is a very good sign if you want to be a big league shortstop to make these plays look this easy. This might be a 60 arm. I agree. He's an interesting case in weighing stats versus skills with the prospect. I agree. I mean, the stats were very underwhelming, but you got to remember he's one of the youngest players in AA. So I actually expect him to make a huge step forward statistically in AA this year. And if he doesn't, then I think some of what you're saying makes a lot of sense here that, okay, the numbers don't really match the tools. But you got to remember he was like one of the youngest guys in AA. So let's see how he looks this year out of the gate. And it'll be interesting to see. Unfortunately, he looks like the kind of guy who plays 12 years from the Yankees and takes against your favorite team the whole time. And rakes, I think that's what you mean. But yeah, I don't know. We're gonna be excited to watch it, right? Anytime the Yankees have an exciting player, it's always cool. So that was number 25, Lombard Jr. Number 26, Trey Yesavage. We're not going to spend a lot of time on him. I have literally 3 videos on the channel about him. We all know what he brings to the table. It's the short stride. It's the downhill effect. A lot of people are offended that he's 26 and there's other pitchers rated ahead of him. I would say it's mostly a function of long-term, some slight long-term concerns. And if I had any concerns about Trey Yesavage, here's what they are. Number 1, can he stay healthy with the outlier delivery he has? I'm not saying he can't. I kind of think like he can. But that's one question, no doubt, because anytime you see something that's a little bit of an outlier, you sit there and you wonder a little bit. Factor number 2, and I'll go ahead and pull up his baseball savant to illustrate this, is just, a little bit of the diversity of his mix. Everything is in that upper right quadrant. You would like to see something in some other area. Something going left would be nice. I don't worry about the depth part of the equation. But something to the left would be nice to balance him out a little bit. As is, I think you keep him the way he is and you let him rock, and I think he'll be great. But in terms of evolution, when people get used to his game or when his stuff starts to decline, and now we're talking a ways off, I would like to see him add some stuff that goes left. Anything that goes left, if he can do it, will really help his game. But, I mean, this guy's a dog. He had one of the greatest World Series performances ever, and he was a rookie. So if you're a Blue Jays fan, you got to be fired up about this dude, and we'll see how he looks in what will be his first full season. How the reverse slider plays, how he hangs on there, over the long haul this year and stuff like that. But other than that, we kind of know what to expect from Trey Yesavage, and it's very exciting. It really is. You just don't see a pitch package like he has a lot, so it's very cool. If only he had a slider that stayed true to pair with that backup slide piece. If he had that, oof. If he had two of them that both come out the same way, one goes left and one kind of backs up, and he could do it on command, I mean, forget it. Forget it. As a Dodgers fan, I would do anything to have this guy as a dog. All right, another question here on Lombard. Can I see Lombard skipping AAA? I mean, yeah, but he'd have to be tearing the cover off the ball in AA, and the reports would have to be like he's ready. Forget AAA. And there would have to be a need. So more often than not, the Yankees prospects do go to Scranton, AAA. So I would expect more of that, but you just never know. You just really never know. So we'll see. All right, we're moving on to the next one. This is an interesting player. It's Seth Hernandez. He was the 6th overall pick. He was the top pitcher in this draft in terms of overall talent and tools, but he was high school. So all of the first 5 teams backed away from him. He had a legitimate shot to go number 1 overall. And I actually think if I were drafting in this draft at the very top, of course it depends on my team's organization situation, I would have been very tempted to take this guy. When we watch him on this video, you're going to see what I mean. It's a really easy delivery. He looks great, and he has a sensational changeup. And to me, when a high school pitcher has a sensational changeup, that is rare. They don't usually need them, so it's so fascinating that he has. All right, here are the grades. 19-year-old pitcher, and he really hasn't gotten himself going yet. Hasn't played at all in pro ball. 70 grade fastball, 60 grade curveball, 55 grade slider, 60 grade changeup, and a 55 grade control. You're not going to find any pitcher in this entire ranking, including Nolan McLean, that are going to have these grades. It's similar, but he doesn't have the 70 fastball. So Seth Hernandez, you're looking at a serious projectable guy. I know this is the demographic that is the most risky in the draft. I talked to Lucas Giolito about it when we interviewed him. He was my first guest on Baseball and Coffee. He was a high school first rounder. It's just going to be a really interesting guy to watch develop. Let's see what we can get on him. I'm going to go to YouTube actually for this guy, because I think you're going to be impressed with the video. He also played for a high school team that was just crazy. They had multiple high draft picks, including Billy Carlson, which was my favorite high school shortstop I've maybe ever watched. So anyway, let's go get into Seth Hernandez here, and you'll get a little bit of an idea of why I was so excited about him. And I remember talking to Garrett Cole one time at lunch, because he was a high school first rounder initially before he went to UCLA. He didn't sign, but I remember saying, like, what are you looking for at the very top of the draft in your mind? Like, are we worried about makeup, or is it all about the loudness of the tools and the stuff? And he's like, look, like, obviously there's red flags with makeup, of course, but if you have a guy that's just naturally more talented and can spin the ball in every type of way that the other guys can't, you gotta believe in your ability to develop that guy. So I kind of agree with him. This is the slider, which has a good grade. It's not my favorite pitch in Seth's arsenal. I love his changeup. But I mean, dude, great stuff. Huge, lanky body that hasn't filled out yet. So I think it's easy cheese with a very efficient delivery. But the thing I love so much is this changeup feel. You just don't see high school guys with this type of feel on your changeup. And you see the delivery. I mean, it's flowy, it's smooth. That's a 96-mile-an-hour sinker right there. Yeah, Cali, he went to that Corona high school. They had some studs. There's the four seam at 97, 98. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to watch how the Pirates develop this guy. And if he can get to the big leagues in short order, that would be electric. But we'll just have to see. Everybody runs their own race. But I would have been very tempted to take him within the top 5. And I know that that's a little bit of a faux pas these days. But I just can't get over how smooth that delivery is and the quality of the pitches. Much different than a lot of the other high school top picks. You think of a Riley Pint, who was almost all fastball and slider at the time. I mean, this guy's got 4+ pitches. He's got plus command. It's a really great place to start from a high school perspective. If I'm the Pirates, are you thinking about adding some weight to him or keeping him lanky? Well, he's definitely going to have to gain some good weight. That's going to happen naturally, but I'd be hesitant to bulk him up too much because of the way he moves. He might be a lot better kind of as a quick, more leaner mover, but we're going to learn a lot more about him as we go. And I think also you get him in there, you do a lot of testing, you kind of figure out his movement patterns and certain things, that you can work towards within his delivery that are different than other guys. But you see the fastball really plays. He's got both shapes. The reason why it has such a good fastball grade is the velocity combined with the extension. Also, his four seam has good backspin. So all three of those are really, really exciting places to be, especially as a really raw high school guy. So anyway, that's Seth Hernandez. Yeah, we haven't seen him yet, literally in pro ball, but he's got a beautiful delivery, and I'm a big fan of his. So let me take 1 second to write back to my wife, because Oakley is sick as a dog. Ugh, so sad that she's sick. Pirates have a stack of young, talented pitchers. It sucks that he's already had Tommy John, but it's okay. He's going to learn how to take care of himself a little better from here on out. Or at least that's on the Pirates to do that. All right, next up, and this is another guy I have a video about his debut. It's Mr. Peyton Tolle of the Red Sox. Here are the grades: 65 fastball, 50 slider, 45 changeup, 55 control, 55 overall. So we saw him come up and have an electric debut. Then he kind of transitioned to the bullpen a little bit down the stretch, and they just spammed fastballs. So if you watch my video, the first thing that stands out about this dude, and it's obvious, is he has incredible combination of angle and extension. So he gets way over. Everything's coming from left to right on a slant across the zone with a ton of spin, a ton of extension, a ton of ride. So he's combining a ton of characteristics plus velocity, because he throws hard as shit, to make his fastball, honestly, metrically, probably like a top 10 fastball in the major leagues. Like, no joke. That's how good his four seam is. But the more I watched him, I did feel like he is far from a finished product. He doesn't really have a consistent idea of his cutter or slider yet. The changeup, which I like, has good movement to it. Let's see if we can go to Mr. Peyton Tolle here for a second. But he doesn't command it yet. He doesn't really understand yet how to be a contact type pitcher, which, again, it's one of those things where at some point you have to figure out where your contact outs are throughout time. Wow, bad gateway. That's weird. But overall, I mean, I'm excited about him. I just think that when you're comparing him to Connolly Early, for example, I think Connolly Early is a little bit more finished, whereas Tolle might have a bigger upside because of this frame, this angle, and this fastball. If he can add some stuff to his other pitches and kind of improve those pitches. I don't know what's going on. So we can't look at that, which is just stupid. But, God, it's so annoying. Anyway, let's see what his stats were in the minors. Obviously in the big leagues, we'll get into that in a second. But the reason why he got called up is because he went on an absolute tear through AA and AAA here, as well as high A. On the year, he ended up pitching 91 1/3 with 3.04 ERA, 133 Ks and 91 2/3, 23 walks, which is outstanding. That ticked up a little bit in the big leagues, 8 walks and 16 innings, but that's more of a function. That's more of a function of the hitters are better in the big leagues and they have better swing decisions, and they can make an adjustment to your fastball because they've seen somewhat similar fastballs before. Where in the minors, this is a unicorn pitch. Yeah, you look at the whip in the minors, it was really, really good. 0.99 for 3 teams, literally a 0.74 in AA, which is outstanding. But anyway, I'm high on him. I just think if I'm a Red Sox fan, I think it's actually important probably to start him in AAA this year and continue to work on his other stuff. And then you can maybe have hope of bringing him in the rotation and hitting in the rotation. But if you mess up and you short circuit this process, he's just going to be a fastball pitcher out of the pen with maybe develops one off-speed pitch. And that might be a dominant thing and a really exciting thing to happen. But I think they're hoping for more with Peyton Tolle, and they want to develop him a little deeper. So that's kind of my thoughts on Peyton Tolle. We'll see how it plays out. He does have an 80-grade personality. Somebody put that in here. Yeah, 80-grade personality. I mean, just a gregarious pleasure to hear him talk, how to be around. But everybody loves him, so we're all rooting for Peyton. And I'm hoping that he can take that level up this year. That would be awesome. And I mentioned, the Red Sox who are doing different things. But this is part of the reason. They know he needs a little bit more finishing off before he's a product. So you got to bring more guys in and not short circuit the process. So we'll see. No PPI if he starts in AAA. See how spring training goes with developing the off-speed. Yeah, I mean, the PPI is a factor, of course, but I also think the Red Sox are going for the World Series this year, and every win's going to matter in the AL East. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be great. I agree with James. Start him at AAA. He'll be fine. But I guess, obviously, he can knock the door down in spring training. That's always a possibility. All right, we're just going to do a few more because I got to rock and roll. We're going to do number 29, outfielder Lazaro Montes of the Mariners. Outfielder. All right, here we go. 21 years old, bats left, throws right, scouting grades 50 hitting, 65 power. So this is a power bat, 35 run, 50 arm, fielding 40, overall 55. Years from now, the Mariners may look at the 22-22 international signing period as a big deal for them. They got Michael Arroyo and they got Montes, best hitter in the class. Cuban outfielder has followed a pattern since coming to the United States, dominating a level to earn a promotion. And then he finished 2024 with a season as a teenager in high A. His loudest tools is the top of the scale raw power. All right. Well, I'm curious to see some of that. Let's see if we can get. It would be great if we could get a little bit of video on this dude. We've been striking out so far. But if we can get a little bit of info on this swing, that would be nice. Here we go. Home run here for Mr. Montes. Lazaro Montes, which I love the name. Ooh, terrible camera angle. Destroyed to right center. In Everett, Washington. The Aqua Sox. Or are they the Emeralds? I don't know. Either way, cool name. Let's see what else we got. Sack, foul, strikeout, field out, sack. We'll watch a sack fly. I just want, man, this camera angle stinks. You can see though that just from this top view, he's got the hands out in front. A little bit of a Michael Harris little load here, but he's a big dude, and I think that's ultimately what it comes down to with him. I mentioned how most of the prospects on this list are all-around guys, and it's very hard to make the top half of this list with one loud tool. It has to be super loud, and that's why TN Overland's here saying DH with massive bust potential, because he doesn't have a lot of defensive value more than likely. But at the same time, it's exciting when you have a guy who impacts the ball like this does. 241 with 32 home runs. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let me make sure that's the stats from this year. Yeah, 32 bombs this year. That's no joke. Also, a little bit of Devers in the swing. I see that as well. But yeah, these numbers are no joke. 19 doubles, 7 triples, 32 bombs. He did punch out 169 times in the minors, so that's the concern. How he gets pitched in the big leagues, how he adjusts. But you're starting from a baseline of huge power, and he's got good enough walks, so he's going to be exciting to see how this plays. And, the Mariners have been dying for a power bat for a long time, so it'd be cool if he could come up there and be a stud. That is number 29, Lazaro Montes. So we're just going to do 2 more, and then I'm going to head out of here. It's number 30, Jett Williams. This is a guy that I, was in spring training with. Got a little bit of a look at him up close and personal. He is an all-around type of dude. Here was his season last year between AA and AAA. He hit 261. Majority of this was done at AA, obviously. 261, 363, 465 for an 828 OPS. He hit 17 home runs, which is impressive out of a small package. 34 doubles, 7 triples, 76 walks, 131 strikeouts, and 34 bags. So a little bit of everything. 55 hit, 50 power, 60 run, 50 arm, 50 field, overall 55 from a 5'7", 175 frame. So very odd to pack a punch. So he's always going to be compared to Pedroia, Altuve, guys like that. And I mentioned how short guys, they're really hard to pitch to, and if they have powerful swings in a small body, that can be a huge advantage, that's their size being small. But yeah, he's going to be a fascinating guy to watch, Mr. Jett Williams. Let's see if we can pull up some swings, which I'm positive we can. There he is, Jett Williams. All right, let's watch some swings of Mr. Jett Williams. So you see, it's a very short little... Ooh, I really like the swing. I watched it a little bit, but it's gotten a little cleaner. He was doing a little bit more when I saw him when he was younger. He's upright. Man, he got to that low pitch. Nice, though. Little 2-hand finish. All right, here's a homer. What will my Monday show be about? I think that's to be determined. Could be Hall of Fame. Could be more prospects. I don't know. I gotta take a look at what I want to cover. This is a nice line drive home run right here. He packs a punch for a little guy. He's going to be exciting to watch, and I actually think in the big leagues, guys with this profile, I mean, they continue to be tough to pitch to. There's no way around it. You got short arms. It's harder to get in on guys with short arms, but he's also got a speed element to his game. So he's got tools to make it work. He's going to get infield hits. He's going to stretch singles into doubles. He also, man, he demolished that ball. And I do remember on the Mets physical testing, they always have a leaderboard, like when they do like counter jumps, like where it's like on the force plates, and Jett Williams was the number one in the organization when I saw. So he's got explosive natural athletic ability, which was interesting to see because he's not like shredded or anything. He's kind of got, I wouldn't say a bad body, but it's not what you would expect to see out of the high school first rounder who's jumping out of the gym. But it's functional anyway. It's all under there. The tendons and all that stuff is special. And you see the pop. I mean, that's not normal pop for a little guy. So I'm excited to watch him. I'm excited to see how the Mets value him. I'm excited to see how the Mets use him, whether it's outfield, whether it's infield, whether he's going to get a chance with the Mets, whether he's a trade piece. Either way, this is a dude. We're going to definitely... Wow, terrible camera angle there. We're going to have to find another one. But I don't know. This is a guy who I feel like when you watch him play a lot, everything that I've heard is that he's the man. Like, you watch him play enough. There's a home run off Kenta Maeda's slider. See ya. But he's a guy, like, if you watch him play one time, you're not going to notice him. But if you watch him play, you know, for a while, you're like, holy cow, like, this guy's stuff really stands out. Tools-wise, approach-wise, everything. He even plays with a good edge to him. So I'm excited for Jett Williams and what that means for the Mets. And it'd be curious to see that play out. All right, we got one more home run to watch. The last 3 shows have us preparing for the upcoming short guy dominance. I'm telling you, it's like you got to have the skill to pair with it, but it's not bad to be a short king in baseball, especially as a hitter. It's not a bad thing. Think about it. You got a lot shorter of a box that I got to fit this ball in. So, you know. I mean, obviously he's going to hit all his power to pull side, but it seems to me like he's got a really good ability to kind of bend with the knees to get the low pitches. Look at that. He still stays pretty flat here. He doesn't get too scoopy. That's going to really help him play against the big velocity in the big leagues. So that's impressive. And that is number 30, Jett Williams, 22 years old, 5'7", 175. So the shortest dude, but he's rising up big time. Everybody's in the chat talking about that. Short King's rising up. Jaycito sees it. The Short King. So I'm excited for this dude. And we're going to see what he does. And we're going to go over one more prospect here, which is Sal Stewart. He was in the big leagues towards the end of the year. Miami guy. I think Manny Machado is a mentor of this guy. And I don't know if he can play the field, but he can hit. 60 hit tool, 50 power, 40 rum, 55 arm, 45. He's going to play a little third, little first. Another guy with a tremendous personality, a la Peyton Tolle, a la some of these other young guys. Electric guy to watch play. Absolutely rakes. Great swing at the plate. Good approach. This was his numbers in the minors when he absolutely banged the door down this year. 309, 383, 524, 907 OPS. He had over 1,000 OPS in 38 games in AAA. 34 doubles, 20 home runs, 80 RBIs, 46 walks, only 77 strikeouts, and added 17 steals, which is not really a part of his game. This guy rakes. Straight up, he is a baseball hitter. Like, that's his position, is hitter. I rake. You know, that's his thing. So I don't know whether they're going to play him. I don't know if he's going to ever stick at third or whatever. But, I mean, it's really nice to have this kind of bat, and you play in the Great American Small Park. Oh, baby. Pulls the hands in nice. Off the deck at Big Mac Land. I mean, my God. Don't worry, I'll do that. I'll do that. But, I mean, we're just going to show you a few home runs. Some of these are in the show. Some of these aren't. But you see the absolute ability for him to go all over the park with power. And the Reds need this guy. And I think he's got the potential to hit 35-plus home runs in that ballpark. So excited to watch him play. Hopefully he can generate some defensive value and not just be a DH. That ball's like out of the entire stadium. But I love the swag he plays with. I love the confidence he plays with. I think ultimately the chip on the shoulder that he has, you know, is going to really play. You know, as you get to the big leagues, you got to be ready to go toe-to-toe with the best. And I don't think he's going to back away at all. Oh, this ball's out of the stadium. Off a window. Great hair, great mustache, great flow all around. So, yeah, that's what you're looking at with Sal Stewart. The kid rakes. Let's watch one more home run. This is off John Means. And I'm excited to see how it goes. He's going to be penciled in probably in the middle of the order right away. So the reason why he's rated down where he is in the low 30s and not at the very, very top is because of the defensive value and being more of the one-trick pony. But the one trick here is a little more proven. To me, these numbers in AAA beat the shit out of even like what we had with Mr. Montes. Like a lot of those guys have too many strikeouts. They have big pop and they're younger maybe. But Sal Stewart's proven it that he's not as young too. He's 21. He's proven it in AA and AAA that level could not contain him. So, you know, he'll be in the middle of the order and we'll go from there. But yeah, man, that top 31 is strong. Every single one of these guys has the ability to either be a big-time star or a solid regular. Obviously, there'll be some busts in here. But this is a very solid prospect group this year, all the way through top 31. If Sal Stewart is your 31st best prospect in baseball, baseball's in a pretty good spot because this guy absolutely bangs. So, be exciting to watch him. Ooh, Tom saying hi from Switzerland. What's up, Tom? Miss you in the clubhouse, guy. And I'm happy that you guys are out in Europe getting some culture out there. Very, very cool. So, all right, Sal Stewart with the 80 grade stash. And absolutely TN Overland. I love doing the prospect stuff. It's cool to learn about new players. So I might keep going with it. There's more interesting guys on this list. Just taking a look at it. Liam Doyle, Braden Montgomery. I mean, we haven't even gotten to Bryce Renier, Carter Jensen, Jamie Arnold. Like, these are all famous players. So I do think I might keep going for a little bit until we get bored of this, because there's a lot of time to cover. I do have another guest coming on Monday. I'll post that. Yeah, we'll see where this takes us. Adam, do you try chicken soup when it's cold? Flu? Yeah, we do, you know, but mostly just sleep and water and hydration and, you know, medicine and all that type of stuff. So I don't know. Looks like we're in for a tough weekend now with the middle kids sick. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to head over and go pick up my son from school. He gets out in about half an hour. So I better get my tushy 20 minutes away from here. So anyway, thanks for hanging with me today. Big thanks to Bader coming on the stream today. I hope that you guys enjoyed that conversation. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Keep a lookout for that Scuba video. And then Monday, I'll post a little update of who's coming on and what the talk's going to be. I feel like we're doing good with this prospect stuff, so I don't really feel like slowing down on that quite yet. But eventually, we do have to do a lot of Hall of Fame talk. And we'll hope for more transactions that we can break down as well. So thanks again for hanging with me on the stream. This was a good, solid week. And we'll be back on Monday. And we have 3 guests coming up next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Obviously, I'll announce all of them, but you guys are the best. So have a good one, and I'll see you on Monday. Adios. Bye-bye.